Hey guys, are you a pickleball player that's been dealing with shoulder pain or elbow pain? I wanted to cover a few stretches and exercises that we just taught a group that we did a little workshop for this last weekend and put a video together that they can use and hopefully some others out there can use as well. So we're going to head back. We're going to go through some stretches and some strength work that you guys can start incorporating. So come on back. So we're gonna start with our stretches, and I'm gonna have our other physical therapist, Chelsea, kind of go through some of the stretches that we taught our group on Sunday, and we'll kind of go from stretches to some strength work to a little bit of a warm up you guys can do. So.
Hey guys, so for our stretches, we're going to kind of start in the middle of our body and then we'll work our way out to our extremities. So we're going to take, if you have a bench, your couch, an ottoman, if you guys have one of the plyometric boxes, you can do this on here. So you're going to put your elbows up on the bench. Your hands can kind of be relaxed here. They can be behind your neck if you'd like. And you're going to lean back to feel a good stretch along your lats, kind of the arms to the armpit to the back area. So go ahead and lean back here. You can hold it for 45 seconds to a minute. You can kind of rock back and forth, kind of find some tight spots. If you want to kind of lean back and forth into it, you can do that here. So that's a really good one for kind of proximally. Next, we're going to work on one kind of specifically for the shoulder. So we're going to come lay down. What I want you guys to do is put your weight on your shoulder. So make sure you're not rolled back like this. I want you to put the weight on your shoulder so you're holding it down. Your arms coming out at 90 degrees, your elbows bent to 90 degrees, and you're taking your other hand and you're pushing down. So this side's actually my hurt shoulder, so it's a little limited. So I can feel that good stretch in here. If I roll back, it's easy and I can come all the way down. So you want to roll on top of your shoulder, hold it down. You can hold this stretch, again, 45 seconds to a minute. You can kind of ease off, get some mobility, some movement. Go back into that stretch and make sure you're breathing through the stretch. If you're tensing up, if you're forcefully trying to, get your hand down, that's not what we're after. We're just a nice gentle stretch, breathing through it, getting the shoulders moving a little bit more. And the last one we're going to do is for our arms and our wrists. And so pickleball players, you're doing this. You're getting a lot of wrist and elbow motion. So we want to stretch those muscles out. So extend your shoulder out, extend your elbow, and you're just going to take your other hand, bend that wrist down to feel this nice stretch. Again, you can kind of move around a little bit. You can move your arm up and down, but you should be feeling that stretch along the back of your forearm here. Same thing, breathe. Make sure you're relaxing. Don't be forcefully pushing it down so you're tensing everything up. Being able to breathe through that stretch is most beneficial. And then go ahead and you can flip your wrist over and do the opposite way. You're going to pull your fingertips down. Feel that good stretch across the forearms. And make sure you do it on both sides, because even though you're only using one arm to play with, it's good to kind of just stay mobile throughout all of our joints in our body. So those are some stretches for you guys to work on.
All right, welcome back. We're going to get into some strength stuff now. So we're going to work on more stuff that you can do with cheap stuff at home. So the first thing we're going to work on is some stuff we can do with the band. And we're actually going to we'll do like what Chelsea did with the stretches. We're going to start at the shoulder and kind of move our way out. So three things I'm going to give you with the band that are all going to focus on shoulder, rotator cuff stability, really trying to create as much good dynamic stability in the shoulder that we can, so that when you are playing a lot of pickleball, when you are hitting a lot of backhands, forehands, you have good stability, in turn helping to prevent and avoid future injuries down the road. So these bands you can get for pretty cheap now on Amazon. You can pick them up in most sporting goods stores. So this is kind of a medium resistance, depending on your strength level, where you're starting pain-wise, all that. You may want to start with a lighter band. You may want to start with a heavier resistance band. So where I kind of tell people to figure out what they need is how many reps they're getting to before they need a rest. So with the first exercise we're going to do is we just call it a banded pull apart with a lift. So we're going to start down at our kind of waist level. We're going to loop that band around a couple times. And what we're going to do first is pull that band tight. So as we pull that band tight, we almost want to pull shoulder blades down and back as well. We don't want to pull that band tight and come up at all. We want to kind of come down and back. and we want to hold that tight there. So now we're going to work on that stability through that band as we get overhead. So holding that band tight, we're going to slowly come overhead, and we're going to go as high as we can without letting those shoulder blades start to migrate up. We want to keep them down and back. And the whole time we want to keep that band tight. Now, if you have a medium band and that's hard to do, definitely go to a lighter band. If we're getting through sets of about 15 and it's pretty easy, we want to go to a heavier band. So we're shooting for higher reps with this stuff. We want these muscles to have a lot of endurance and a lot of strength so they can last the whole time we're playing pickleball. So slow up, slow down. So that's the first one. We're going to keep the same position with the band. We may have to lengthen a little bit or tighten it up depending, but now we're going to anchor. If we're working our right arm, we're going to anchor the band down at our side with our left hand. So from here, with our thumb pointed up, we call this a PNF pattern. We're coming out from our pocket like we're drawing a sword, and we're coming up towards the ceiling. So big focus with this is elbow's going to stay locked out as best we can. We don't want elbow to be doing a lot of work. We want to be holding and pulling. So same idea, as we come up, we don't want that upper trap to take over. We don't want to shrug. We want to keep that shoulder down and back. So again, higher reps if we can, sets of 12 to 15. If you're only getting this 5 or 6, that's okay, but you may want to go to a lighter resistance band. The other thing I always tell people with this is if this causes pain, there may be something more going on in there, and we don't want to keep pushing into sharp pain. If it's discomfort and it gets better throughout the movement, go for it. But if it starts getting worse, definitely hold off on that one. So then we're going to actually keep that same band position, and we're going to transition to a shoulder external rotation. With this, we're really focused on rotator cuff control. And rotator cuff muscles is what give our shoulder dynamic stability. So we're going to wrap that band. Again, we're going to focus on the right with this, bringing that arm up to about 90 degrees, kind of in this 45-degree range here. And elbow's going to stay at a 90-degree bend. So from here, we're just pulling up and back down. What we want to avoid is as we pull back, if that band is too tight or we lack strength, we're going to, again, tuck that shoulder up. We don't want to do that. Keeping shoulder blade down and back. This one may be a little more challenging for people. So we're going to do, if you can, 10 to 15, but stop at fatigue. And with all of these, definitely work both shoulders. I know I showed you everything with the right, but then you're going to want to go and do the same thing with the left. So here, and then this plane here, and opening up. So those three are really focused on shoulder blade and rotator cuff stability. Now we're going to transition to a couple elbows strengthening exercises that we do for someone that maybe is dealing with some elbow pain, or hopefully to prevent elbow pain from happening. So we're going to head over here. I'm going to use Chelsea as kind of the model as we go, and we'll talk about those ones here in just a second. All right, so we're back with some elbow strength exercises. So we're using a 5-pound weight here. That may be quite a bit for some people, especially if you're dealing with some pain already in that elbow. So we're going to demonstrate with the 5-pounder, but if you're having pain or anything, we can go sometimes all the way down to 1 pound or no weight at all. So the first thing we're going to target is what we call our wrist extensors. So we're going to come off the edge of the table a little bit. Forearm's going to be rested on the table, and we're going to work on a slow up motion and a slow down motion. So same thing with these. We're shooting for sets of 10 to 15 if we can. If you're dealing with pain currently, definitely let pain be your guide and stop where pain and discomfort become at that kind of like, okay, I'm done spot. Not unbearable, but uncomfortable. And then we're going to use that same weight and we're going to flip hand over, so arm over. So same thing, forearm resting on a table, edge of a couch, something very supportive. And now she's going to go all the way out into her fingertips with that weight. And you're going to let that weight almost pull you into a stretch, and then starting at the fingertips, curling back up. Same idea, 3 sets of 10 to 15. And again, if you're only getting to 6 or 8 reps and it's a 5-pounder, if you can, definitely go down with weight. So then we're going to hit what we call pronation supination at the wrist. And this one we are going to go a little bit lighter. Most people will, because this one gets a little more challenging. The other thing you can do this with at home is a small hammer. If you put the head of the hammer up here and grip lower on the handle, that's also something you can use. But now she's just going to stabilize forearm again and just work through wrist turning motion. So we call that pronation supination. Again, someone dealing with some tennis elbow or golfer's elbow pain, this may be uncomfortable, and it's okay to work through discomfort. We just don't want to push into any sharp shooting pain. How's that feeling? Pretty good?
Okay.
So sets wise, what I'll usually tell people with this one is do 3 sets and go to fatigue. So sometimes that may take it may take a minute. If you're going past a minute and you can go up in weight, start going up in weight. Perfect. Quick little warm up with the same band I want you guys to do. So taking that band, and we're going to start with just pull aparts. So we're going to do 10 or 15 here. We're going to go up overhead, 10 or 15 here. And then we're going to use 2 of the movements we just went over in the strength portion. So then we're going to come with the band. We're going to wrap it around. And we're going to work on that, what we call that PNF pattern. So we're going to do 10 or 15 here. And then we're going to go our 10 or 15 here. And even if you're a right-handed player, I would warm up both anyway. What we want to do with a dynamic warm-up is something where we're getting muscles ready to function and function quickly, especially with pickleball. So those quick little movements, something you could take 5 minutes to do before you play. Go through maybe 2 rounds of them, get that shoulder nice and warm, get that elbow nice and warm. That's going to help prevent a lot of injuries down the road. Thanks for coming to that workshop. I hope these videos are super helpful for you to remember and start incorporating these into your weekly workout programs, and hopefully a good warm-up before you start playing.